Hi, I'm Takoa De Silva, and I'm standing here today with Bob Wasylyshyn, President and CEO of Goldore Resources. Bob, how you doing?
I'm well, Takoa. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. The last time we got together was back in June at the Cambridge House show here, and you guys had some exciting stuff going on, new drilling, operating the mine in Sweden. What kind of updates can you give us here? What's been going on with you guys?
Well, Takoa, we've got a bunch of things on the go that are exciting. I guess first and foremost, we're earning quite a bit of money as per our financials. Our Q3, which ended at the end of August, was quite good. The takeaway note from that is the cash that's sticking to us. We're building up quite a war chest of cash in our working capital, and that's a very positive thing, of course. We're very conservative. We haven't financed in 3.5 years, so the dilution is kept under control, and now we're bringing in free cash flow. That's a good takeaway point. Another one is we're conducting a lot of exploration. We've got 3 diamond drills turning on the property. A 4th one will arrive in about 2 weeks. So because we've got the cash, we've taken the decision to explore a lot harder, and we're finding ounces. We haven't been able to drill outside of the ore body yet, and that's a bit of a shortcoming, but it's also an opportunity for us. We're trying to drill out as many ounces as we can, get them on our balance sheet. Positive things. Also, our plant at the property, the guys there have done an amazing job. When we last spoke, we were producing or processing around 3,200 tons a day. We're up at 3,500 tons a day right now. That's a 10% increase in throughput. The plant guys are doing a great job, Takoa.
Bob, I have to ask you here. You guys have a quarterly report coming out shortly, so I'm not going to ask you to get into specifics about the financials and so forth, but you guys are cashed up. What kind of choices and options does your team have now when you're looking at what to do with money here?
Well, that's a good question, and there's a lot of thought going into that right now. There's 3 or 4 good options in front of us, staring at us. One is a cash dividend to our shareholders. We get a lot of support from a few key shareholders on that issue. We haven't decided anything on that, but to pay some rent to our shareholders, we view that as a positive thing. A second thing is to buy another asset, either a development property, an exploration property, expand our company. A third item is invest in the property, buy more machines. We operate the mine with a lot of contractors. Investment in machinery makes us more efficient, increases our earnings by purchasing machines, and we're constantly buying machines and pushing the contractors slowly away.
And if you could comment on some of the institutional and large shareholder positioning here in the company, what would you say to that?
Well, we have a very large shareholder in Toronto. It's an institution, a fund, and they control around 17% of the company. They are the biggest shareholder in the company, and of course we appreciate their support, and we really like talking to our shareholders. And that's a good point. If any of our shareholders ever do feel like calling in, I'm always open to taking calls and hearing from our shareholders. I really like the feedback and getting information from them.
And in our previous interviews, you've always commented on increasing efficiencies at the mine and keeping costs under control and finding new ways to just strengthen the numbers coming out of there. So as a standalone, that right there is exciting. But I also want to ask you about the blue sky and the upside to what's currently being explored and the unexplored areas within your property package. I'm wondering if you can comment on that also.
Okay, well, the upside and the blue sky is really the easy component of that question. I'm drilling right now with 3 diamond drills on the property. These black sticks on this map represent drill holes. I'm drilling out in this area right now, completely a new area for us. We've completed 2 holes in there, and I'm getting positive results from that. Another new development, there's a zone up here on the property in the far north. That's about 1 kilometer from the existing mine. We've just completed a couple of holes over at this corner over here, and we're hitting visible gold in the core, which is a very good sign. So we're developing something up in here. It's early days, but with 3 drills turning, 2 underground and 1 on the surface, we've got a really good exploration program going. As I mentioned earlier, we haven't been able to drill out the edges of the deposit yet. So that's a lot of work left remaining for us, but very positive indications from that. This mine has run now for 23 years, and I'm really looking forward to developing another 20 years towards the deposit. Currently, we have a 5-year mine life in front of us, but we know we can grow that with the drilling indications we've got, that looks like a very positive and easy thing to accomplish.
All right, now Bob, on the subject of finding visible gold here on the property, we've had some conversations that the drill results, the core is coming out with specks and flakes of gold visible right in the core, as well as rock samples on the property. And so I'd like to sit down here, talk a little bit more about the story, and also look at some of those rock samples.
Sure, let's have a seat to COO, and I'll show you a couple of my favorite specimens.
All right, now Bob, you've got a couple samples here from your flagship project, the mine, the Björkdal mine in Sweden. So I'm wondering if you can walk us through these samples here that we have.
Well, that's right, Dakota. These are from our flagship mine in Sweden, the Björkdal. This is a very standard industry tool called core, drill core. This is diamond drill core. It's been sawed in half by our geologists and our technicians. This is how we explore for gold, Dakota. We drill hundreds of holes, and the holes are 100 to 200 meters, maybe 800 feet long. We pull out the core samples. Our geologists describe it and log it and fill out lots of forms. That goes into our computer database, so we build a three-dimensional model. This core right here doesn't have any gold in it. It's just a standard piece of rock. But now let's get to the real goodies. These are rock specimens from Björkdal in Sweden. The white rock here is quartz veins. The black rock is the granite host rock that most of the mine is made up. Our miners and our geologists chase the white rock. The veins are typically 1 meter or 3 feet wide. And within this quartz specimen here, you can see, if you look carefully, you can see a big gold flake right here, a gold nugget. One of the unique features of our mine is that the gold is free milling or visible. It's not tied up in the molecular structure of other minerals. So it's very easy to process. And Toccoa, we've talked about this before. Because the gold is so coarse and visible, we don't need cyanide to extract the gold. And that makes us one of the cleanest gold mines in the world without using toxic elements or substances to recover the gold. Some of our specimens get approaching museum quality. This piece probably has a couple of grams of gold in it, maybe worth a couple $100 or a couple $100. It's actually held together. It's wanting to break up, but the wire gold inside of it's holding it together. We get some very beautiful specimens of gold at the mine.
I have a few more questions I want to ask you here financially about the mine, about the company, before we wrap up.
Fire away.
Now, we're in an environment here with, over the past year, we've had an explosive rise in the price of gold. Cash flow to the company. You guys are producing gold here from the mine. I'm wondering if you can give us a little bit of an idea of how much free cash flow, a general area that the company is in right now, and how much value is being created here on a day-to-day basis for current and any potential shareholders.
Well, that's a very good question, Toccoa. You've asked the right one. In dealing with the financial reporting of mines, we can look at earnings, we can look at cash cost per ounce, cash flow, but the best question is free cash flow. Free cash flow, best described, you start a year with X dollars and you finish the year with X dollars. It's the amount of cash that you've generated that has stayed within the company. It's not, it's very difficult to confuse it as you can with earnings and just cash flow or cash costs. Free cash flow is a very, very good way for rating mines. Our anticipation is that we'll do somewhere between $10 and $20 million per annum at these cash prices, probably closer to $15 to $20 million per year in free cash flow. In other words, our last quarter we had $16 million in cash or working capital. Every quarter we're hoping to add $4 or $5 million in free cash flow and grow our balance sheet that way.
And I also want to look at this from an investor standpoint. Me as a shareholder, if I were to look and try to understand the value of this company and where it's trading at in the market today, there's the shares at the time that we're speaking here now, at the tail end of September, they're trading in about the 70-cent range because of this, massive sell-off that we've had in the markets. So you guys are sitting on cash now in the bank. You guys are cashed up. You have a producing mine here. If we were to look at per share, how much roughly cash the company is sitting on and how much the mine is being valued at and what maybe its true value is, and what the asset value here per share may be, in your opinion?
Another good question, Takoa. You're talking about enterprise value now. So our company, we take the market capitalization, say it's $70 million, $60 million. We extract the cash or the working capital, how much is left, and that's defined as the enterprise value. We're sitting in working capital of around $20 million. We extract that from that's around 23, 24 cents per share in working capital. That working capital is about $16 million of cash and about $4 million worth of bullion sitting in our vault that will be shipped very shortly. But for us, working capital is a component of money or cash, gold in the vault, and maybe some receivables from our buyers of the gold. So we've got around 23, 24 cents in working capital. That would leave us with an enterprise value of maybe 40, 45 cents. That's what the mine is being rated at. And that is disappointing, and I think it reflects the sell-off that you mentioned.
So the market cap being today around $60 million for this company. You guys have a bit over $20 million in the bank. That means that this mine is valued, the market's valuing it at around $40 million. If we were to look at that in terms of acquisition from an outside standpoint of someone wanting to gobble up that whole kind of thing, what with your industry experience and insight here, what would another company or just an investor, if you wanted to acquire that whole thing, what kind of price would you have to pay, and how cheap is that in your opinion?
Well, I think it's very cheap, and I don't think it's a fair valuation of what the mine is worth. When you look at our reserves and our resources, I think it's a bit of an indication of what's happened to the equities. As bullion has moved up, the equities haven't done as well. We can blame the ETFs, we can blame the governments, whatever the uncertainty that's out there right now, the flight to cash. There's a number of broad spectrum macroeconomic items we're touching on there. But you're right, the company is not valued in a strong position, which makes us a takeover candidate. I think our best defense would be a strong share price, but that's where we are today. If somebody came along and wanted to purchase us, typically there's a premium paid. Those premiums range from 10 to 50% over market. That's a negotiating thing, but yeah, that's where we are today, Takoa.
All right, Bob, in wrapping up for our people watching that have questions for you specifically or questions about this company, how can they get in touch with you and find out more?
Well, you know, if there's not enough information on our website at goldor.ca, they can always call us here in Vancouver at 604-687-8884. We do like hearing from our shareholders. We're open to questions, and that'd be the best way, Takoa.
Bob Wasylyshyn, President and CEO of Gold Ore Resources. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Takoa. Good to see you again.